All right. Welcome, family. Welcome to another episode. We are now live. Going to have a great show as usual on this lovely Friday, July 24th. Shout out to everybody who's over on Patreon. I had a great show with Rod Hayes last night. If you are not part of Patreon, we got a community over there called Carbon Code Collective. Make sure you join as soon as possible. We are heating up. Things are going is going to go get real big and busy over there. So make sure you are part of it. I'll share the link in the chat in a little while. But for tonight, I got an amazing show. We're going to have a great discussion on a lot of important topics. Been working with this brother for about 17 years or something like that. Oh man, we collaborated so many times from the streets of Brooklyn, New York to online to everybody on the world. I want to take this time to welcome back to the platform one of the OGs in this community, one of the young OGs in this community, none other than Aseer, the Duke of Tears. Welcome, my brother. Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you was cutting up a little bit. What you said, my brother?
I said peace. Thanks for having me on, man. Happy holiday to everybody.
Indeed. Oh, we got the lovely Celina with us too. Oh, shout out to Celina. Shout out to Celina. All right, what's going on, Celina? What is going on? Hey, Celina, before we get started, thank you for the package. I did get the package to my daughter. She was there all night with the chapstick. So you gave it. She was there all night. But you know, we'll get into that. But let's start the show. I see it, man. What's going on? How y'all doing? What's going on with y'all?
We good, man. Happy holiday, you know, just living, striving to stay alive, you know, keeping everything right, keeping everything as good as we can, you know.
Yeah, I know. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
No, that was it.
No, I'm just excited to be on the show. It's just dope seeing somebody that you knew for so long talking about certain things and then living in it, living in it, and talking to that person. It'd be like, yo, remember this? Yo, remember you said this? Like, it's a dope ass experience, man. That's a dope feeling. It's a dope feeling. It means I'm in the right place, and I was in the right place when me and you was doing what we was doing 17 years ago. I want to start out. I want to start out real quick because me and you was talking about Friday before the show started, and it made me think about the daylight saving times, and a lot of people have always been against it, and I think they're coming out with legislative or something like that. They're getting ready to stop it. I don't think they're going to do the spring forward and fall back anymore. What's your thoughts on that whole thing, right? Because everybody feel like time is speeding up. Could you talk to me about time real quick? I see it.
That's a great question. It's all about manipulating people, places, and things, you know. So daylight savings time is just a byproduct of the old Gregorian calendar that we always knew was outdated and outmoded. However, they gotta continuously going on because they don't want to deal with the older calendars that's dealing with everything in the proper sphere of 13 months, and every new month starting off on the 28th day, which then puts everybody back into the natural flow and cycle of everything. So because the days are speeding up and what they consider their atomic clock has actually been off by about 1.3 seconds, and it's continuously cycling down. So it's making it harder for them to plan their rituals and their their exercises down to the nth degree that they need to capitulate and satiate whatever deity or demon that they're doing these rituals and tone the numerical system and energy from. So what they're striving to do is cement an actual time sphere that allows them to anchor their rituals more on point, because the thing with evil is it has to have a specific structure, and evil thrives on efficiency. So the more efficient the time schedule is, the more they control what they perceive as the outcome of whatever it is that they're striving to attune through whatever ritual they're doing. So if they're off by a second, if they're ahead by a second, it throws the whole thing off. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
They anchor themselves into a reality that's slowly peeling out of their control. So now they want to fundamentally moor it, for lack of a better word, to a specific time sphere, so that way they can manipulate the time stream that is slowly slipping away from them, because too many people are waking up to the understanding that everything that they say and do is a lie or a trap. So this is one way they're striving to do it. So they have to play both sides, because there is no Republican, there is no Democrat. There is only a uniparty.
Right.
So the uniparty is working the whole situation, because the uniparty is the unicorn, the horn on the pale horse of death that these people all represent. So one faction is going to be against it, the other faction is going to be for it. They're going to act like they're going to argue it, but eventually they're going to make it pass, because that's what they all do, because they all worship the same demon, just under different names.
Do you think, I said, do you think what you said about the Democrat and Republicans, they all going to fight, they're going to argue, but at the end of the day, they're on the same team? Is that, because I know you get into the metaphysics heavy, is that symbolic to the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious mind, where they fight and they argue and you think your ego's against you and you think your ego's your enemy, but is it possible that they're on the same team and they all want the same outcome to occur, but they got different ways of going about it? Could that be an example of that?
Yeah, it's essentially everything in the macrocosm is a divine reflection of the microcosm.
Right.
So because they're all in the order, like they're all into Freemasonry, for instance, right? So because they're all doing the same ritual, right? Whether they're black, whether so-called black, whether they're white, whether they're Asian, whatever it is, if they're going under that whole compass and square with the G thing, no matter what it is, they're all basically doing the same thing. So they're all participating in one mass death pageant that they all take different roles in, right? So when we see like the compass and the square and the G and all of that, right? They're gonna have all of their mystical mumbo jumbo talks about what it really represents, because a lot of them don't even know. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them so-called masters that's been in it for 30, 50, 70 years, a lot of them don't even
know.
Because the whole purpose of it, when you listen to things like the writings of Pike and all of that, the whole purpose of it is to keep everybody chasing their tail in it. So only a very few really understand what they're really doing. So you can come out and say what it is, and then another one will come out and say, oh, well, we never did that. That's because you wasn't on that level, right? So there's always a means to disavow what the next person's saying. But actually, the appearance of the symbol is also a representation of the inner mind's eye. So the G in the middle, that's the observer. You see, that's the ultimate you. And then the square on the outside, that's the physical shell. You know what I mean? The square on the square on the outside, that's the spiritual shell. The compass, that's the physical shell. You see what I'm saying? So it's you observing yourself through a spiritual lens, manifesting in a physical appearance. You see what I'm saying? And so then all work around how they're going to mask that and create pitfalls and false doors and things like that to get you constantly searching for the light, constantly searching for the fact that what you're really looking for, you always was in the beginning. That's
Indeed.
what books like The Alchemist by Paul Coelho was about. That's
Mm-hmm.
what the book The Magus is about. There's a book called The Divine Pymander. It's all the same story. None of these people have the light to what they say they do, especially if they cutting things open, sacrificing things,
Mm.
creating pageants and putting on pretty costumes and aprons and stuff to glorify themselves, to make themselves and give themselves like these glorified titles that are really just like, like you had a sister growing up.
Yes, I did. Yeah, older
Okay,
sister.
so
Yep.
you remember when you would see your sister playing with her Barbie dolls and stuff, and she would
Mm-hmm.
give like all the elaborate stories and all of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You didn't really rock with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's the realm of the feminine. That's what she was really dealing with. You did. You was dealing more, or we was dealing more with stuff like GI Joe and
Yeah.
stuff like
Yep.
that.
Yeah.
So what they found was this, and this is a real thing, and it relates to what I'm saying. What they found was that boys and girls play with toys and stuff very differently.
Mm. Talk that
And
talk.
this is what Lego found out. This is why Lego is one of the biggest brands still and hasn't destroyed their brand in the public market because they understand the difference between boys and girls. Western society is following behind this false identity that women and female are just male and female are the same thing when they're not. They're co-polarities to one another. So they found that when boys play, like if a boy's playing with Batman, a Batman figure, right? He's playing with it from the perspective that he is Batman, right?
Yes.
Rex, he's Steve, he's Raheem, whoever. But when he's playing Batman, he's playing from the perspective of what Batman is. You understand? So he's not putting himself necessarily in Batman. He's becoming Batman when he's playing with Batman. Same thing with Spider-Man, He-Man, whatever it is. Any type of man, when the boys are playing, they're playing from the perspective of they're putting themselves into the mythos. But how should I say? They're becoming the mythos, right? By releasing their ego in it. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not like Raheem is Raheem Batman. When Raheem is playing, he's Batman. You understand? So
Right.
it's not
Right.
Raheem's understanding in it because he understands the story of what Batman. So he's going to follow the traits of what he knows is and then expand on that. You understand? So that's the boy releasing the ego.
Yes.
You understand? To achieve the pleasure of enveloping himself in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Girls, when they are playing, they conform the story to them. You understand what I'm saying? It's not like when she's playing with Barbie, she's Barbie. No, she's her. And she's using Barbie to create her own story about her.
Damn. I didn't think. Wow, that's interesting.
So that's a fundamental difference. So
Yeah.
apply that now to things like politics or right and wrong. They did a study with some people where they had a circumstance where they put a bunch of men and women in a room and they were playing a game, and then they made it where the men observed somebody in the room that was playing the game they were cheating, right? And so in the aspect of them cheating, they were told that they could see the cheating, but they couldn't call it out, right? They had to wait for the end of the thing. So they did the same thing to the females and said, okay, when you see the person cheating, we're going to talk about what happens after. So at the end, when they asked the men what should happen to the person who is cheating, the men said they should not be allowed to play the game, right? Or they should be ostracized from playing the game from now on. When they asked the females, what should they do about the cheating? They said, well, as long as the person promised not to do it again, they should be allowed to play the game.
Wow.
So do you see to what I'm saying?
Yeah. Wow.
This is why they would rather somebody like a Kamala Harris. You see what I'm saying? An Iman Omar, a Oprah. They always want a female in a position that they can make higher than the male, because the males are going to call out the problem. Just like when a little boy or the little girl is going through something and they know they're in trouble, and if there's a male and a female in the house, 10 times out of 10, 9 times out of 10, they want to go to the mother. You understand? Because the father is going to be the Saturnian aspect in the situation. He's going to call for some sort of retribution, some sort of, you see what I'm saying? Some sort of reckoning that the child don't want to deal with. So they rather go for the feminine Jupiter side, where they know that they're going to get more compassion out of the situation. So it's the same thing, bringing this back now to the Freemasonry thing. You got a bunch of guys that are acting like girls, you see what I'm saying? And using the idea of brotherhood and secrecy, which again is the realm of the feminine. Men don't really deal with secrets. Men deal with privacy. But it takes a lot for another man to necessarily take on the weight of another man's secret, especially if it can cause him some sort of blowback from doing that. You see what I'm saying? So when we grew up in the hood, we knew a lot of people doing crime, right? And we knew they were doing crime, but we weren't necessarily participating with them in the crime. So we weren't directly affected. So it wasn't us keeping a secret about this dude's crime, because everybody knew they were doing the crime. But I'm not directly involved with it, so it's none of my business. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not keeping this guy's secret. I'm acknowledging the fact that there's different lanes, and that's not the lane I'm in. So I can detach myself on that. But if that lane starts coming into my lane, now as a man, I have to set a boundary. You see what I'm saying? If I'm going to keep this secret, I have to get something out of it. You understand? Because with men, it's a reciprocal situation. It's not always like that with females. So you got these guys that are, again, telling you, for instance, again, using the Freemason as an example, just an example, we want to control, we want to solidify daylight savings time because it'll allow us to do such and such and such. That's what they're telling everybody. But the secret is we really need to do this because we're slacking up on our rituals that we do because we believe these things help us control the rest of y'all. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean about the pageantry and the lies that go along with being a part of situations like that. And that's why they like to use women, or they've created a circumstance where they want to have women believe that they are somehow superior to men, and have men believe that the more manly they are, or the more masculine they are, the more wrong they are. Because that all goes along with an occultic practice, an occultic androgynous god that these demons are worshiping, called Adam Kadmon, that has both breasts and a penis. It has both a vagina and penis. So they want to be able to create a physical world where that is acceptable more than the natural order of things. Because if things go back to the natural order, they're all out of here. You understand?
Wow, indeed. No, indeed. And wow, I mean, that's very interesting. Wow, we could do a whole show on that right there.
Just on that.
That's how in depth that was right there.
God is called Attis. Yeah. Attis. It's a castrated god. That's one of them.
Indeed, indeed. I wanna because since we talked about time and the manipulation of time, what's up with CERN, Aseer? I've heard people talk about it. They turn off the CERN machine. I want to hear your perspective about what's going on and what was the whole purpose of CERN from what you know, and what's happening moving forward now. Because people like, since CERN shut down, there's a different sun and this happening and that happening. I'm like, so what's really going on with this whole CERN thing? So talk to me, Aseer.
In my opinion, CERN, they say that it has its own acronym, but CERN is really short for Serenios, or Serenos, which is another name of Saturn. See what I'm saying? Because they worship a cube, which is another version of a box or trap. So this CERN machine that they created was just a physical representation of an occultic divination mechanism that our ancestors shut down before the last so-called reset. So we shut all of that stuff down when the wars started because elements of us was using it against other elements of us. And then we destroyed the technology and then wiped out all of the cities and stuff that had that connection to it. That's why you see all of those melted cities in the Grand Canyon, all of the melted cities in Jordan and Petra and parts of all over the world. You're gonna see that. That's why you have all of these catacombs in all these different cities around the world. The biggest one being in Ukraine. I believe Ukraine has the biggest underground catacombs. But like in Paris, they have a whole catacomb system because all the cities are built on top of each other, on top of each other, on top of each other. Because after everyone gets to a certain level, they get too, what they say, big for their britches, and then try to control and destroy other people. And then that's when the wars start and everything gets shut down. They go back to zero. So at the time that they found the catacombs, allegedly, there was only like 600,000 people in what they call France. Now, France, as we know it today, that France didn't actually exist the way that it exists now. France, at one point, was just a little county in a greater place called Galicia. And Galicia was the main place. And then what happened was they expanded the French jurisdiction to be able to encompass the whole thing. And then everybody from those old time periods, they all got wiped out. And so what they did was they took all of their skulls and bones and stuff and then created the foundation of what the new city was going to be on top of that. That's why you have all of these giant cities underground, what they call cities of the dead, with all these millions of people's of bones and skulls and all this other type of stuff. And they all arranged in like geometric patterns. And, you know, some of it can look real beautiful if you're into necromancy, but essentially it's all, they use that as the foundation, spiritual energy to then power what the new city was going to be. So CERN was basically the modern version of them being able to utilize that energy. That's why the real aspect of CERN is underground. It's a giant circle that goes all the distance of where the whole circumference of what Galicia used to be. And it's an underground tube that they send photons through. And they send it through at such a tremendous speed. They generate so much speed in it. Then they send a negative charge through it in the opposite direction. And then what they wait for is them to go around and then boom, finally hit each other. Once they hit each other, they then create what's called a tachyon field, right? Now, tachyons are energy particles that move backwards in time. All right. If you ever watch movies like Tenet or The Time Machine or read The Time Machine by H.G. Wells or anything, they'll talk to you about tachyons or free radicals. So these tachyons go backwards in time. So that gives them a view into an alternate universe that they can look to try to see what it was like prior to what they call the Big Bang, which to us is the last reset. You understand? So what they're trying to do is peer into the point in which we did not exist, so they can look at the face of what they think the true creator is and then find a way to either go there or bring it here, right? So that way they can put their false god on its throne there, right? And then now they can rule both places. This is their religion. You can read the Talmud, you can read the Sefer Yetzirah, right? And this is what they believe. So like regular people believe that when they die, they'll go to a heaven, and in that heaven, there's a supreme being, a deity, a god, right? uppercase, capital G, and then they'll reign in them with that thing forever, right? They don't believe that. They believe that their God, they know is the false God, should be the real God. And in order for them to be God, they have to kill every aspect of them that was made in the image of that original God. You understand? So that way they have to break the vestiges of humanity. So that means get rid of love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, equality, spirituality, kindness, compassion. They got to dead all of that because gods don't believe in that. Gods just believe in blood sacrifice, right? Power, right? Sex and death. That's it. That's what all their gods deal with. So they believe that that is how they become immortal. So their goal is to break the firmament, bring the true and living God down, put their false God on the throne, right? And then now they can live in this perpetual dual state in which they can be man and woman, good and bad, evil and righteousness, all at the same time. You understand? So CERN is the vehicle for them to be able to do that, because they believe by doing this, they are solidifying themselves in the good grace of Ceranos, who again is Saturn, who again is a tyrant, a despot, right? A genocidal maniac. This is what they worship. So they have to emulate their God. So if they have to rape children, eat children, kill people, genocide millions of people, whatever they got to do to be like that, that's their version of being like Mike. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how they're going to achieve their goal. So the problem with all of that is that it's a lie. So because it's a lie and it's not sustainable, right? They are now forced to accept the fact that it is not a sustainable practice. So what began to happen was the more they used it to manipulate the time frame, what they started to do was create splinter versions of the time space continuum. And so timelines began to diverge, like in Avengers, right? The timelines start to diverge, but then they always converge back. So many years ago, back when we was in Brooklyn, I did a whole video about the chronovisor that the Vatican found, right? Which was one of our old machines, which was like a proto CERN device. And this device allowed them to look into the future. This was found in one of the catacombs under the Vatican, right? So this allowed them to look into the future. So years after the chronovisor, CIA came and stole it from the Vatican, right? Some people say they didn't steal it. Some people say, but if they're dealing with them, they stole it. So they stole it, and then they brought it back and made it a part of this thing called the Phoenix Project or the Phoenix Program. Out of that, we get programs like MK Ultra. We get programs like MK Naomi. We get programs like MK Patriot, right? Now, these are all time manipulation programs that use people and children, you look great, babe, and children that, and turn them into physical CERNs that they can remote view future, past, and alternate possibility events.
Wow.
Right? Wow. Through ritualistic programming, child trauma, rape, torture, altar creation, right? Because the altar that they create, meaning when they split your consciousness, creates an altar that they can put things on as a supplication to this God I'm talking to you about, that will give them the energy into this child, into this man, into this woman, that they then can read and pull out of them. Okay? And so through these programs, they created this thing called Project Looking Glass. Now, what's interesting is that when they used Project Looking Glass, they opened it up and all of the potential possible futures, all of it converge at a time in which they lose everything. And no matter how many times that they went and looked at it, no matter how many people they tortured and killed, no matter how much blood that they sacrificed to create an alternate reality in which they actually win,
they lose.
It never worked. So being the psychopaths they are, they don't want to learn that lesson. So what they did, they just shut the program down. You know what I'm saying? So, and then got people like Michael Aquino, who may or may not be the father of Erica Kirk and J.D. Vance, to go into a higher version of the MK program they call the Phoenix Project. And then he wrote a book called The PSYOP and My Manipulation that became the groundwork that the United States military intelligence started to use to then apply these psychotropic and these psychological operations to the public, to then put it into movies, to then put it into songs, to then put it into books and literature and education, to mold our minds into accepting a future in which everything gets destroyed and then a dystopian society rules comes up from that is basically them, that we all become slaves of, right? And then it's not until somebody like Neo comes, who is just another version, just another fake messiah created to keep us in the hamster wheel of this fake reality, right? To give us hope like it's going to change, and then it really doesn't change, and then we got to wait for another Neo. You see what I'm saying? This is what QAnon was. This is what the whole white hat theory, the military working behind the scenes, arresting people, all of this. This is where all of this comes from.
Okay.
That came from a project that the Mossad took over called Operation Trust, Operation Veritas, and Operation, it's another one, in which Operation Truth, where they basically come out now because we were putting out too much information that was waking too many people up. So they can't stop the information. So what they decided to do is say, okay, well, we'll do the opposite. We'll actually put out the real information. You know what I'm saying? And we'll allow all of this real stuff that we're doing to come out. And then the people that are not in our control, that's helping put it out there, we'll target them. You see what I'm saying? And then we'll replace them with our own versions of these guys who we've already sanctioned to tell the truth about what we're doing. So now the truth actually becomes a lie. You see what I'm saying? So this ritual that CERN was the key pinnacle in had to have a god or goddess associated with it. So the male god in this of CERN is Ceranos, Saturn. The feminine version of that god is Shiva. And so when you see Shiva doing the dance, that's the symbolic aspect of what CERN itself is doing. It's creating a sexual dance to activate the Shekinah, which is the feminine aspect of God. You ever see when you see the small hats in Israel and they be there and they be like this in front of the wall? It's like they're humping the wall. You ever see them do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see them, like they'll be there and they'll be the thing and they'll literally be thrusting like they're humping the wall. That's because they're actually doing that, because they believe that when the first temple was destroyed, the male aspect of that went up into the ether, right? Or below. Whereas the feminine aspect was still tied to the temple. So when they're doing their prayers, they're actually trying to have sex with the energy, the feminine energy of the Shekinah, what they call, or the Shekinah energy, to be able to pump it up, to bring it up. Now the irony is, the wall that they're in front of, that's not even a wall from the original temple. That's an old Roman wall, you understand? But you gotta remember, these people, as much as they hate Rome and all of that, they are all essentially like paganistic Romans. because they're all idol worshipers. They all worship false gods and stuff. So the CERN mechanism, once it was on, it was working in their favor, but then it started going in the opposite direction. You see what I'm saying? And now what started to happen was it started to have the opposite effect in people. We started to pick up on all of the things that it was changing, like the Berenstein Bears and the whole whether Sinbad was in the Shazam movie and all of these little things. You know what I'm saying? The Fruit of the Loom. When we grew up, it had the cornucopia in the back. And then people were saying, no, it never had the cornucopia, but niggas is finding their old tidy whities from when they were 7 and they got the cornucopia in it. So everybody understands that this could all be traced back to one thing when these guys was doing it. What it also started to do was actually started to awake the free radical energy within us that starts to manifest whenever we get closer and closer to the end of an age. And so free radicals exist in a constant state of animation until you look at them. Once you look at them, they stop moving. You see what I'm saying? So whenever we are in a position of great power or getting close to it, we become more and more under scrutiny. This is because their time is actually ending. Their empire is up, and it has been for some time. But now that the procession of equinoxes has reached the point of Jubilee, which is where we are now, CERN itself is actually doing them more disservice having it on, because every galaxy, every alternate dimension that they keep peering into, we are looking back at them, coming to get them. To the point where when we were growing up, they was telling us that MK Ultra was a fake thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, last week, while everybody was looking at the World Cup and all of them distractions, I'm on C-SPAN watching the MK Ultra congressional hearings.
Wow.
And if you haven't watched them, y'all need to go back and watch that ASAP, because everything that we have ever said, that people have always told us that we were crazy, that wasn't true, was conspiracy. It's not only true, it's terminally true. To the point where I'm watching this and these niggas are saying, yeah, well, you know, Dr. Martin Luther King, he was targeted by the MK Ultra program, so they used MK Ultra operatives to help take him out. They're just talking about this. They're saying shit like, yeah, well, you know, the reason why the cartels is where they are is because they created a Macy's catalog style book where it was full of children, and you can order the children through the catalog, and the Mexican cartel niggas that they in bed with will be able to get them to them within 24 hours. You understand? Like, this is the shit that they're talking about. This is, and they just talking about it. Now, what's interesting is not one Democrat was at any of the hearings. Not one of them niggas. Right? Then they was talking about how they got a list. They got the Epstein. He was just one of the facilitators. One of the bigger facilitators that came out of the MK Ultra program was your boy El Mencho, who was also down with El Chapo. Who was under El Chapo. All of these niggas, El Chapo, Castro, El Mencho, Che Guevara, all of these niggas was a part of the program. This is in the actual congressional files. You can read it.
Damn.
Saddam Hussein, Uday, Qusay. The reason why these people are so psychotic was because they were all trained by the intelligence services through the demonic programming, so that way they can be possessed, so that way they can help create a dystopian type of world that they could convince us is inevitable. This is all to convince us that nothing that we do as individuals or collective will be able to work to stop them, because they know that we're the real CERN. We are the G inside of the compass and the square, like I said, right? We are the observer inside the spiritual realm, living in the physical realm, right? So if we accept their version, their pageant, their little Barbie story, right? That they're putting themselves in as the hero and the villain. And if we accept their version of it, that's the version that becomes real for everybody. You understand?
Mm.
This is how they've been able to manipulate through every incarnation and how we've always been able to stop them. Because like I said, the one thing that scares the devil more than your rebellion is your indifference. Is you not caring about their authority? Is you not caring whatever they're going to do or say or achieve or carry out or whatever? If everybody stopped caring about it, if everybody said, we are not going to accept anybody's authority that rapes and eats children. So no matter what you guys sign, no matter what you guys do, we are not going to participate in it, in any of it. We're going to stop paying you money, and what we're going to do is support our own municipality. And if anybody in our municipalities try to get us to go along with that, we're going to ostracize them and have all of y'all over there. Remember, this place that is controlling the entire world is only 10 miles square.
Wow.
That's not even, you understand? Just like the other place in Small Hat Land, that place is barely the size of New Jersey.
Wow. So
you got one place that's a little smaller than Kings County. Kings County is bigger than the District of Columbia. That's you understand? Great.
Yeah.
So you got that place, and then you got the other place over there. Both put together, they both couldn't even take up a half of Texas. So all we got to do, right? All we got to do is not do what they expect us to do, which is go along with their narratives anymore. It's already been proven. They got Epstein walking around here under a fake name, trying to get this nigga to run for mayor, to the point that the city of Florida had to write him and saying because of his DNA, the questionable aspects of his DNA, he's not qualified to do it. But because he's under the name Palm Beach Pete, you know, it may not be him. How, like, this is how much they playing in our face. This is how much they want to be caught. This is how much they want to be stopped. They're like degenerate gamblers. They can't stop themselves. They can't stop themselves. They need somebody to literally take them out.
Damn. Aseer, let me ask you this.
That's what we're really dealing with.
Let me ask you this, because I know some people will be confused.
Yeah, it's not even that big. Say that again.
I know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. I know some people might be confused about this whole Saturn thing. I hear a lot of people, astrologers, talking about Saturn in a negative vibe. And I heard you say that the parasitic elite worship Saturn. But then I also hear the white dude, Norman Gertrum, say he's seen black people leaving Saturn. And I heard, I remember Sun Ra, the jazz musician, said African Americans come from Saturn. So what's the deal? What's the relationship with black people in Saturn in terms of this whole evil thing? Like, is it evil black people in Saturn?
There's a book you can get called Saturn, an old look at a new look at the old devil. I believe by Liz Green. This is one of the book, the gems that Bobby told us about back in the days. Big up to Bobby Hemming. No one being is one thing. So if you have a light side, you have a dark side, right? Both work in union. In the Circle 7, it says man is a mixture of truth. Man is truth and falsehood strangely mixed. So when Homie is saying that the original people are Saturn, he's right in the context that we represent the father of the whole race, of the whole species, right? The oldest DNA in the world was found here in the Americas, Southeast America, from a guy named Albert Perry and his family. That they could trace his lineage, his patrilineal lineage, meaning the line between the father and the son, back over 350,000 years. Okay? So then analogous to that, we have Henrietta Lacks, who after she died, her cells started to reproduce. Both of these are from this continent.
Right.
Here.
Right.
Not Africa, the continent of Africa, but here.
Yeah.
So those cells, because of who she is, her cells are now still producing more of her, which means that anything that those cells go in, she is alive in. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So that means we are the father and the mother of the human HUE man species, right? The original man, the original woman. They want to tie us to the Homo sapien, Homo habilis branch, which is the monkey branch, right, of the Neanderthal branch. But that's not us. When they were in that state, we were in this state. Because there's never been a state or time that man has not existed.
Mm-hmm.
Because we exist within the mind's eye of the Father. So if what you perceive God, the supreme ultimate deity, existed, and we existed as a thought within the mind of that, how could we ever not have existed? You understand?
Right.
It don't make sense. You can't have one out of the other. You can't say that there's a spiritual ultimate supreme deity being that created all things in the universe, and then we were created in that image, and then say that we didn't exist. You know what I'm saying? Until this point. No, there's never been a time. So it's either one, that thing never happened, which means it doesn't exist, which means we don't exist, which we know that's not true, or we've always existed and always will exist, and everybody else that we created after us is on borrowed time. So when it says that Saturn is evil, they are worshiping and using the dark side of ourselves. You understand?
Right.
As a manifestation of the Saturnian energy to then control the rest of the world. This is why you could explain why we're the only people on earth whose torment has been turned into entertainment. We are the only people in the world who our debasement has given us financial success.
Wow.
You understand? We're the only people in the world who allegedly are the brokest and don't have any type of money, but then we can bankrupt the whole South Korean stock market because we stopped buying weeds. You understand what I'm saying?
Talking shit, Aseer. Talking, man.
This is why the things that these people say is outdated. Like you still got elders holding on to these old excrement-based fraternal orders and societies that have no active production to show that they have moved us forward. They have not. None of them have. Those societies that our ancestors used to get along between the years of our internment as prisoners of war, what they refer to as the slave period. Those societies were there just to maintain, and you had people playing both sides. But we come from a time from a people where we were all sides, where we created that whole thing for the children, for people who did not have civilization, to be able to civilize themselves enough to be able to come around us and do the bare minimum. In order for them to make it like those societies are the best thing and that kept us together, that's a lie. What kept us together was the unity between the man, the woman, and the child.
Right.
That's what kept the societies together. Not getting together on Thursday night in the upper room and putting on aprons and talking about cubes and squares and shit like that. Like, that's maladapted. It doesn't make sense. And if that was the case, then as many people who are involved with those things now, from the time that we was babies, because this was going on before us, from the time we was babies to now, I'm 53. Where has the progress come in being down with it? I haven't seen it. All I've seen is a bunch of niggas getting together, putting shit together for themselves, and putting their own people on. But for the most of us, they're all participating in the same bullshit rituals with the white ones because they all doing the same rituals they do.
Right.
So to me, it's a blind leading to death situation. And then it's we in the bathroom and let's convince everybody that the bathroom is the whole mansion. That's what's really happening. We don't need any of that shit anymore because none of it worked to begin with. We was only dealing with it to keep the new overseers, right, that inherited their position through people that look like us who wanted to find another way to win the war against us. So what better way is to fight us by proxy? By creating a golem, a homunculus, an egregore, a demon, right? That we could put all of our sins into. And while we're all fighting and focusing on that, the niggas that created that look like us is behind us, right? Acting like they fighting with us when low key, they are the ones benefiting on the whole situation.
Damn.
So you're dealing with a rigged deck, you're dealing with a rigged game. And it's hard to tell because it's hard if everybody black, if everybody in the dark, it's hard to see who's black or who's white.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
So, like I said, the CERN thing is just the physical machine that they was using, but it started to backfire because it's actually waking more of us up and creating more alternate realities where we now are seeing ourselves in a higher position. Remember when Endgame came out with Thanos?
Yeah.
Thanos represents the Saturnian cosmic black man, so-called melanated, dark-skinned, melanated melanocyte seed that they seen coming at them.
Damn.
Like dark side, right? And dark side and Thanos is coming and they got to shut that down. So they needed to find a way. But when you look at Infinity War, was it Endgame? The whole Marvel universe ended with that. Why? Because Thanos won. He won. He shut the whole thing down. He got rid of everyone, right? And what did he use? He used the 5 fingers of death: love, truth, peace, freedom, justice, and himself as equality, and brought everything back into balance, right? Brought it all back into balance. And what did he say in the next movie? He said, no, what they're now trying to do is they're trying to deal with their failure. They're trying to create another reality in which I lost. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. And then they're going to try to divert the reality into that. So he said, you know what I'm going to do now then? I'm going to wipe everything out to the point that there is no memory of anything else other than my victory. That's us. That's where we are right now. That's why all the movies suck. That's why all of the books suck. That's why all the TV shows suck, because they're trying to use the Adam Kadmon, the androgynous man, which is a female, as a physical primordial man. But reality does not function under that. Reality functions under the idea of 1, 2, 3. Man, woman, child. That's what it is. Anything else is an anathema. Anything else is a deviance. You understand? That's the immutable law of the universe that nobody wants to accept. Because they got y'all all in a mind state that you could literally do whatever you want. You could do whatever you want, and you don't have to pay for it. Somebody else will. You see what I'm saying? That's why they like communism. That's why they like socialism. That's why they like being a part of secret orders and groups, because they like feeling like they little group, they little party, they little fraternity, they little handshakes and shit. That's what it is. That's popping. You understand? And anything else other than that, that's not cool. Why? Because they don't got no money. But I thought money was the problem. I thought y'all didn't like money. Well, We only like money if the people we like having money have money. So you see the problem? They done brought this nigga, they done dusted Jay-Z off and had this nigga performing for 3 nights straight. You really think he want to do that?
I seen the first night. I seen the first night. He was. I did a show with Blue and Red. He was a little rusty the first night. I think he got better, but I seen that first night. I was there for the
Come
first.
on now. You think he really want to do that? At 56, 57, you think he want to dust off the Yankee hat and do all of that, and they got to go through all of the fake hair rituals and all of this other type of crap? This nigga, when I knew it was a ritual, when they had that nigga on the train, you ain't never see, when he was even hot, name one video, one clip of anything where you ever seen Jay-Z on the train. Never. He was always the one in the Benz, in the limos, in the Lexus, in the foreign. Now this nigga's on the train? Like, he must really be down bad. He must really be going through something where they got him out here like this. Because that's not, you understand? That's not what it is, bro. That's not, come on now. I'm from Brooklyn. I don't even want to take the train if I go back there. Knowing what I know now. You know how much noxious chemicals they pumping through the train from when we used to live there? Imagine what they doing now. So you mean to tell me he gonna set up a whole store inside of the train when he ain't never been on one train in his whole career? His whole career was about not taking a train. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I mean about them, again, using Saturn, because he is a good representation of Saturn in the rap industry. See what I'm saying? Him, Puffy. See what I'm saying? That's Saturnian energy in the industry. That's holding niggas down, blackballing niggas, setting people up, giving people whack deals. That's Saturnian. That's the negative side of Saturnian energy. The positive side of Saturnian energy is the work ethic. Can you get this done? Are you going to face the deadlines? How efficient are you? There is no time for debate. Make a decision. You see what I'm saying? That's the positive aspect of Saturnian energy. That's why it manifests through Capricorn, right, babe? Absolutely. Through Capricorn, which is what? The symbol of Baphomet, right? The goat, right? What do they call these niggas? The goat, right? Oh, he the goat. He the goat. Then they say, oh, well, that was created by LL Cool J, meaning the greatest of all time. No, that's what they told you niggas that it is. Whenever they say he's the GOAT, they're saying that he is the Mendes GOAT. Literally, he is the Saturnian magus that is directing the energy in the game, because they worship Saturn. Saturn is Capricorn. Saturn is Capricorn. Capricorn is the GOAT. Can you get the charger? Morris, because he got the thing I can plug in. Thank you. That's the GOAT. So this is the GOAT that they're worshiping, the Mendes GOAT, which is why they're going so crazy for the Oddyssey right now, because that's the whole CERN play in your face again, because they really trying to hype it up like it was the greatest movie in the world, and it's not. You know, everybody was really having problems with it over the wrong things. Their problem in it was, you know, we had the black Helen of Troy, and they had the trans dude in it, which all might be true. You know what I'm saying? But in the end, thank you. In the end, that's really not the issue to me with it. The issue is that it was created the way it was because the way that Hollywood works.
Can I take it for low power? How do you do that?
It's gonna be charged.
Yeah, but if the low power reduces the light, and no longer the light. Never mind.
Well, if you leave the light on, it's gonna overheat.
I got. Exactly.
That's why I turned it off.
Sorry.
So good. The real issue is.
Turn the light on right there.
Yes. The real issue is that The reason why he casted it like that is because of the Adam Kadmon androgyny rules, the Dionysian rules that are now destroying Hollywood. Everything is a quota-based system because they're all racist. So after the George Floyd ritual, they merged the Me Too and the anti-black people circumstance, and then used the trans identity as the velvet glove inside the hammer, over the hammer, to be able to bludgeon everybody on the head with it. So they merged our so-called struggle for so-called liberation and tied everybody to that. So it's no longer about melanated people, original people from America fighting and giving civil rights for everybody. It's about people of color. It's about trans rights. It's about gay rights. It's about everybody else's rights but us. And so to make it that way, they want to even it out. So that way, in order for you to get an Oscar, you can't have a movie that is accurate for a time period, or what they even perceive as accurate as a time period. What you have to do is shoehorn in elements of things that shouldn't even exist in that time frame in order for you to be considered for that. So Nolan is an Oscar whore, right? He's a whore for Oscars. So because he's the only director who can still make money, because everybody else who drunk from the so-called woke mind virus, they're all hacks now. They can't make good material anymore because they can't do stories that focus with strong male characters. All the male characters have to basically be women, or they have to be effeminate enough, or they have to be men who are totally unsure of themselves. They cannot be strong masculine men like the way that we grew up watching, or what we perceive strong masculine men to be. And they always have to be women who are better than them and always telling them how weak they are. So if you have a movie like that, you can get an Oscar. So that's why he made Odysseus a pansy and somebody who is totally different than how he is in the actual story. Because everybody's saying how great the movie was, never read the Odyssey or the Iliad or any of these old. You understand? Like we was the last generation to have to read shit like that. Mm-hmm. These children stopped taking reading and phonics and shit out, so they don't even know how to read. So they won't even listen to the audio book to find out what it was. So they don't know. But in the story, Odysseus is very cunning, very clever. He's somebody who has a lot of pride and somewhat hubris, and he thinks quick on his feet. He makes decisive choices, right? But they're not always good. That's the total opposite of who Matt Damon was in the movie. Also, if you notice, all of the colors in the whole movie was very drab, very gray, very dark, very stark, very like, it's like a bunch of people standing still, not moving. Like, they're into that now because they don't have any. There were nobody creative enough to write stories from the perspective of heroes in Hollywood, in the mainstream Hollywood anymore, because everybody is a villain. So villains can't write heroes. They can only write villains from the heroes from the perspective of being brought down or deconstructed. That's why everything is based on deconstructionism, where we take the male hero and we destroy him, like Superman, right? The new one that came out sucked, right? Turned Superman into a whiny pansy, right? That's because that's how the director James Gunn is. You see what I'm saying? He was a pedophile. He was a nigga who was advocating, making all types of pedophile jokes on Twitter. Then got fired from Marvel for it. Now they made him a part of the thing, and now he's bringing all of that thing into destroying the hero, because the goal is to destroy the male visage of a strong man and to promote the idea of a strong masculine woman. You understand? So in him doing this with the Odyssey, he checked all the boxes. I got the black chick, check. Got the trans chick, check. Got the Indian dude, check. Got the crippled dude, check. got the crippled dog checked. Like everything is checked. So that way he's going to win the Oscar because the movie was tailor-made for the most dumbed down audience in history, which is the audience that are witnessing this thing now. Like even the part with the Cyclops, where he gets into the thing and he sees the Cyclops, the whole story in that was that he tricked the Cyclops and tricked Cyclops' father, who was Poseidon, so that way he wouldn't receive the punishment for sticking an eye in Poseidon's son. Because the Cyclops was Apollyon, right? And in the story, when they're trapped in the cave, he convinces the Cyclops in a conversation that his name is nobody, right? So this way, when he's talking to him, he keeps calling him nobody. So he gets him drunk. So that way, when he finally sticks the thing in his eye and his men escape, and then his father, Poseidon, who is ruling the ocean that they're about to go on, asks him, who did this to you? The demon, the Cyclops, says nobody did it. So that means that Odysseus can't be blamed, which means that he can't be destroyed by the greater God, by whom son he just transgressed against. You understand? That's too highbrow. That's too high thinking for people who have been dumbed down to the level of a 7-year-old. You understand? So you had to take all of that out and make it something very pedestrian. So for people who like like stories that really don't have any depth and meaning, is great for them because they don't remember an era where movies were better than this. See, we do. Like we came up, and when we was little, we was watching shit like the 10 Commandments and Ben-Hur and all of that. Then we grew up in our adult era, we had shit like Gladiator, and none of those things were accurate either. However, what they were accurate in the idea of the hero's journey, the journey of the man coming from the depths of his evil nature, rising to the summit of his higher self. You understand? Which gave us an understanding of right and wrong. These bastards want us, yes, and evil not being rewarded, yes. And evil not winning in the end, yes. That's the difference between what we're going to see with Endgame and what we're going to see with Doomsday. See, Endgame, we had a 12, 15-year run getting up to Thanos. So when Thanos finally appeared, we wanted him to win because in reality, he's the good guy.
Or like the movie Saltburn, where the character
is
the perfect example.
Saltburn, another idea where they show the villainous character winning in the end and doing a demon's dance naked in the house of mansion that he's inherited because he's killed everybody in the joint. That's why we like the Joker, the first Joker movie, because we saw somebody who had been beat down by the very same system that is beating us down, and rose to the position that he inspired everybody else to rise up against the system. So you know what they had to do? They had to immediately, we took the wrong message from that, right? So they had to create a Joker 2 and destroy, deconstruct everything they did in the first movie.
Joker 1, right.
Exactly. Because they cannot have you having self-respect, integrity, honesty, fortitude, loyalty, standing for what you believe in, regardless to all of the pressure around you. That's what Saturn, real Saturnian energy is about. That's Batman. You see what I'm saying? That's what Batman really is. He is coming from the night, what they say in the Book of the Dead, come from the night, come to you from the day by the night. That's what he represents. That's why the first two Batmans with Nolan was good. The last one, not so much. Because again, they can't have you seeing a strong man lead something. Even with the new He-Man, they had to get the dude who played a whole season on Netflix as a gay dude. Red, blue, and white. Go watch that. That whole series, he getting popped in the butt by some dude. And then you're gonna take this. That's not, I'm exaggerating, but I'm saying
It's a movie, not the series.
But my point is, he's a twink in that whole series, right? So they're gonna take that guy and they're gonna make that guy He-Man. Then when you watch He-Man, right? He's exactly what I'm telling you. He's not a man. He's a really soft dude, unsure of himself, doesn't have any understanding, right? Then when he even gets the power, he doesn't really want to exert the power. He just wants to kind of like get everybody to be cool and shit. That's not what we watched as He-Man growing up. Maybe that's how Prince Adam was, right? But then what happened? Soon as he became He-Man, one, he became dark-skinned. Remember that?
Right.
He became a dark-skinned black man, number one. And number two, he was not taking any shit from anybody. He was decisive. He was clear. He was direct. He knew what his mission was, and he always saved the day. Unapologetic. And at the end, he always gave us a positive message. Right? In this He-Man movie, the best part of He-Man was Skeletor.
Excellent.
He was the best villain I've seen in years.
Hilarious, too.
Right? And hilarious. Because he was Saturnian. He was about what he was about. He was not wavering, and he stuck to the main essence of what Skeletor was when we watched him as a child. Everybody loved Skeletor. Just like everybody loved Darth Vader. Just like everybody loved Dr. Doom. Because we as young men and even women like order. As much as we talk about we love chaos and this and that,
we like, oh, yeah.
That's cool for a time. But the older you get, the more you see the value in what order brings. And there is no chaos without order. Because if there's no order and it's only chaos, what do you have? Nothing. Everything is out. Everything is just everything. So you could live, you could die, you could bounce, you could do whatever. But there's nothing for you to hold on to because it's all chaotic. We are the chaos that has been manifest into an order we call arm, leg, arm, head. And that is what we use to order the chaos around us. So in the Bible, when it said, I give you dominion over all things, that is us coming out of the melanin sphere or the melanated universe, which is chaos, manifested into this chaos, into order, and then bringing that order to the rest of the chaos to create a balance of both. That's what they don't want to deal with. Wow. So that's why the Oddyssey movie is they're trying to turn it into a cultural phenomenon, but it's not. It's all contrived. It's all fake, and it's all body. Because real people who know real cinema, the Gladiator 2 that came out was better than this. You know what I'm saying?
Gladiator 2?
And Troy was better than this.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And everybody hated it. But like I said, the more sucky they make their movies now, the more we appreciate the old stuff. So now what they want to do is make it so we can't even watch the old stuff. They want to take away physical Blu-rays, CDs, DVDs, game DVDs, and stuff like that. They want to take all of that away so we can only depend on digital versions of everything. So that way, because they know in the digital version, they can change it.
They can change it, yeah.
But see, we are Generation X. We are humanity's last hope because we are the ones who literally raised ourselves. We were between the boomers and then we were between the so-called millennials. And we are the only generation that can actively deal and build with all of the ones before us and the ones after us. So our generation is looking at the younger generation saying, yeah, the niggas in my generation and back, the boomers, them niggas is the reason why we in this situation. You see what I'm saying? It's them. They're the ones that's still trying to fund the blue state over there. They're the ones who are still trying to work for a corporation for 45 years and then get fired overnight and then still try to go out and get another job instead of setting up their own business. See what I'm saying? They're the ones who are locked into that slavery paradigm shit and all of that. They're the ones who still want us to go back to Africa and set up everything when all the Africans is coming here. You understand what I'm saying? We're the generation that woke everybody up. We're the generation that realized, oh, I'm at home by myself every day. So if I don't make food for myself, I'm not going to eat. Oh, there's dishes in the sink. If I don't wash them, then we're going to have roaches. Oh, my mom's is not giving me no money for these Jordans. I got to go out and get it. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We're the ones who, oh, I can't listen to this old fuddy-duddy music. Let me make up my own music. Right. We are the ones that did that. That's why they don't like us, but they don't speak on us. Because they know the more they speak on us, they don't really want us to talk to none of the other two generations, because we'll be the ones to unite everybody. Mm-hmm. So they got to keep them over here, us in the back, and then the Gen Z and everybody they control in the front. That's how they doing it.
Wow. Yeah, no, I mean, you wow. Aseer gave it up tonight. Aseer gave it up tonight. I want to before I want to get some question and answer, and I definitely want to give Celina a shout out with her products. I'm very happy to use her products on my daughter. But I want to ask you one last question before we get into that. I said with the World Cup going on, because I know you're a big history guy. So when we need to know history, you could like tell us what was going on in this time period. Argentina, a lot of people saying, why the fuck are they so racist? Them motherfuckers hate niggas. So what's the deal? What's the deal with the history of Argentina to make them weak the way they are? Like, we just existing and they telling I show speed, you nigger, throwing banana peels. Me like, what's the deal with Argentina? I think Kevin Durant had a run-in with them also. But what's the deal with the history of Argentina and what makes them behave the way they behave?
We talked about that.
Argentina is the Nazi Germany of South America.
Shit.
Okay.
It's true.
And they're also the Israel of South America. You know what I'm saying? So take it further back. Argent, right? Just get to the name. Yeah. Argent was one of the horses of Zeus, or one of these Greek, going all the way back to the Greek shit. Also, going back to that, what I was saying with the Odyssey, because it ties in. The king that Odysseus was under was a guy named King Agamemnon, right? Mm-hmm. He was the dude who looked like Darth Vader, who they had him looking like Batman, who didn't say nothing. King Agamemnon was a Saturnian to the point that he sacrificed his daughter to death so that way he could summon the wind from the wind god to allow his ships to get to Troy faster. King Agamemnon was the cousin of Troy. King Agamemnon and the cousin of Troy in Homer's epic are both listed as Ethiopians. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm saying that the king that Odysseus was under was an Ethiopian, according to the guy who wrote the story. Also, his cousin, who was the king of Troy, was also an Ethiopian, which then means Odysseus and them was Ethiopian too. By Ethiopian, he's talking about the skin color, because it's Ethiopian spelled with an E, and then it's Ethiopian spelled with an A. Aethiops. One of the names, the original names of Zeus is Aethops or Ethops, okay? Because Zeus and all of these things was so-called black. There's a book you can get called The Black Athena. One of the old books you could read, get into that. Anyway, one of Zeus's horses was Argent. And Argent was one of the horses that allegedly plowed the way. So in the story, Argent, or something happened with Argent, and Argent was plunged to the earth, and wherever he landed, that became fertile land for people to repopulate. So allegedly, when you look at Argentina, it has a shape of a horse, allegedly. So the original people of Argentina, right, were or are Moorish Americans, i.e. they're Moors who grew up in the continent of the Americas. I don't mean that they was a part of the Moorish Science Temple of America, okay? So I'm using the term Moor instead of the term Negro or Black because I wanted to be specific, because at the time that this place was founded, they had an international global trade by which people from Peloponnesia, that we now today call Greece, or Europa, which is another name of an original melanated goddess. Europa was a melanated goddess, Moorish goddess. They all would go back and forth. So from South America to Chile, from Chile to Alaska, and all the way over to Europa, we had a global thing because at one point, all of the continents were connected. During that period is the period that we talk about the age undreamt of, is what some people refer to it as. And so those original people that were already in Argentina were always there, just like they are in every other country up and down South America. So somewhere around the invasion, when they started letting these people out the caves and putting them on boats and then bringing them over here, when our global infrastructure began to shake, and then people that looked like us started to use their positions of power to create proxy wars by using these newly freed slaves, promising them a certain degree of orchestration if they would come over and help exterminate other people that look like us. And then they were able to now take over that area and live there as if it was theirs. Okay? This is what started to happen to Argentina between, let's say, the late 1600s into the 1700s, now into the 1800s. So by the late 1800s, going into the early 1900s, they come up, the white ones, right, who are following the orchestration of the people who sent them over here, who are what you would call black nobility, i.e. melanated, rich, so-called Europeans who have a disdain for anybody that's not in their class, whether it be secret society or not. They now are giving them the marching orders of how they need to function. So while they're there, they come up with an idea called blanqueamiento, which would be similar to what the Mexicans, the white Mexican, mestizo Mexicans employed during the mestizo revolution over there, called La Raza, which is the race, where they now want to create a fairer race and get rid of all the indigenous original melanated people, Moorish Americans that was there. So they went and picked a fight with Uruguay and created a war with them, a mechanized war, one of the first mechanized war. And before they did that, they started to solicit a lot of the females, the melanated females who were of the rich aristocracy and all of that, and started to become their paramours and getting them to cheat on their husbands and promising them more money from Europe, more silks, more finery and all this. So these chicks started to do that so that way they would have babies with them. Another thing in Brazil, they called this the recondao. So this is all the same process where they're now trying to get rid of all the melanated men, all the melanated sons, take all the melanated women, force them to have babies with the mestizos and the fresh out the cave Eurozoids. So that way they have these so-called mulatto octoroon type babies that they then could give power to, then make those babies with more Europeans coming in, then make those babies with more Europeans coming in, to the point where they only have dark hair and maybe dark eyes, but they look straight up Caucasian, European, mestizo, Basque, because they all really from Basque anyway. And so they got them to do this, and then once they convinced enough of them to do that, they started making laws, you know what they like doing, started making laws about what the black man could own and what the Moorish man could own and this and that. Then the only way out was to go and fight in the war. But what they did was they did a conscription that said that all the melanated men had to go on the front lines. And then they got them all in the front lines, and right when the war was starting, all of the white ones, the mestizo ones, the racist ones, they all retreated and left all the melanated men to get slaughtered, right? So they was able to get rid of a whole generation in one swoop. The females, their wives and stuff, or their ex-wives and stuff, they didn't care because now they was moving up. You see what I'm saying? And then what did they do to them? They started turning them into handmaids because they was starting to marry their daughters and have sex with their daughters from this whole situation. So that way, once the daughter was born and the daughter reached about 12 or whatever, they would either kill the melanated woman that betrayed her man and betrayed her people, or they would tell her she could stay, but she would have to be the side piece, and then they would marry the daughter. Then have a baby with the daughter. That's why you see a lot of Argentinians, they got real close eyes, because a lot of them, most of them is inbred. You know what I'm saying? So they implemented this from the end of the war all the way up to 1933 when the war started. Then they opened it up where after the split between the original New Swabian black Moorish Nazis, right? They broke out, left the white decoy Hitler Rothschild Nazis, them ones that we know as Nazis today. Most of them was trans too, like Himmler and a lot of them niggas. The white ones, when you see them, you look at them, their hips is like crazy. That's why they used to wear those pants that would go out and in, because this is how they were all hiding the fact that a lot of them was actually women on the low. And so what they started to do was they set up the eugenics program that they got out of the United States through the Skull and Bone Society, funded them, and then after the war collapsed, they funneled all of them into where? Argentina. In the MK Ultra files, the president of Argentina told the world and provided the documented proof that your boy, the white Hitler, lived all the way up until 1950, just like we said he did. That's why they created the movie The Boys of Brazil, which talked about how they were trying to breed a new Hitler through eugenics programs, and they were creating all of the clones through the Mengele programs that they were running all the way to Argentina. Wow. Now with the whole war that's happening with Israel and all of them people are going where? Argentina. You see what I'm saying? Because again, that's the new Germany for everybody to escape to. And now what they're doing, what's ironic is they are now doing to the white Argentinians what the white Argentinians did to the black ones, which is replacing them as the majority of who's going to run Argentina. So now it's going to be they basically, once Israel is destroyed through whatever they're doing, they're going to set up different versions of it all over the world. So you have a version in Argentina, you have a version in Ukraine, you have a part of it in Germany. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. But the main one is in Argentina. And because the president, Milei, was sent by them to become the president, he can usher all of this in. So they're burning down the forest right now because there's a moratorium on buying any land that hasn't been burned. So as soon as the president came in and wrote that, guess what? They found a guy who happened to be an Israeli national burning up the forest. And now the land is being done. They trying to do it. They was trying to do it in Albania, but the Albanians ain't having it. The Albanians is no joke. They not having that. So this is why they're receiving the double the cup of what's happening. This is why they're so racist to melanated people. Right. Because of the fact that they are inbred, number one. They are fostered by the idea that they are the Europe of South America, and that they're better than all of the other South American countries because they're so-called blanqueamiento. You understand?
Wow.
And they have the right to be racist because that's just the culture that they're born up in.
Wow. See, there's a reason why I had to ask Aseer that question, family. Tell me that wasn't thorough. That was a thorough answer right there about
It's funny because a
Argentina.
lot of people that are out here, there's a lot of Argentinians out here. And two people in my building were like, why is your business is Cordoba? Well, that's an Argentinian name. I said, actually, no. The city of Cordoba is in Argentina because Cordobans, we ruled everything. That's why the name exists in Spain. That's why it exists in Argentina. That's why
It's in America.
And the lady's mouth dropped. Said, oh, I didn't know that you knew that. And it was like, why would you? No, Cordoba is a Moorish black name.
Right. We're Moors.
It just happens to be, we ruled Argentina for a while. So they named the city of Cordoba there as well as a city in Spain.
The name of the city is Celina, Cordoba. That's the actual name of the city in Argentina.
In Argentina.
So when the Argentinian chick said, what's your name? She said, Celina Cordoba. She was like, what? And then when she said, yeah, well, you know, the Moors was ruling her whole situation, everything switched up. See, everybody that's not melanated from America, when you talk about the Moors and you being of that and they know that you in it, they lock in right away and they start talking to you in a whole different situation because they automatically know, okay, the spell is not working on this one.
Damn.
So you got to talk to them from the perspective of nationality.
Plus, it's also like meeting somebody that they thought that they wiped out.
Right.
So when they see
Right.
a black person
Right.
like myself in that situation, they're always like, "Ay, tú eres español, tú hablas español." They always are trying to figure out, do you speak or how do you know?
Where you from?
And it's very humbling.
It's great.
A lot of
We love
lighter skin Argentinians, especially people that are from Spain, like Spanish people, they don't even want to act like Moors exist unless you say it, and then they're like, oh, okay, I don't want to talk about the people that rule.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about the people that rule.
Yeah, see, instead of lynching us down there, they just wiped everybody out, basically in one fell swoop. So they didn't have to go through years of Jim Crow and all of that.
Right.
So there's a lot of melanated Moorish American Argentinians that's still there now, but you'll never see them on TV. You'll never really see them like that. To the point where they even create their own version of, just like white people, create their own version of melanated culture. Like they got Argentinian reggae artists, like they got Argentinian rappers, they got Argentinian jazz musicians and shit. Like they're crazy. They're crazy with the racism. You understand? Because they don't create nothing. You understand? None of these people have created nothing. None of them have created nothing.
Ain't that
Not
so?
soccer, not nothing that they're practicing. So when Spain won, we won because there would be no Spain without the Moors. So if Spain winning, the Moors is winning. You understand what I'm saying? So they was tight. When we was walking out with the Spain and the Moroccan flag and shit, these niggas was really tight. They was like, oh, look at these.
Wow, that was a thorough breakdown. But before we get out of here, I want to give Celina a chance to tell the family.
You inspired me to take my day clothes off, Rich, and put on a gray sweatsuit. I was like, I gotta go change real quick. First of all, a lot of people, everybody that orders after tonight and writes in the notes, Brother Rich's section, if you order CordobaOrganics.com and you write Rich, anything Rich, Brother Rich, I will send you a free body butter for like the next 30 days. So from now, 24th of August, I will hook whoever comes in the comment section, because a lot of people, and this is why I'm grateful for you just allowing me to speak sometimes, a lot of people have said, hey, I saw you on Brother Rich's show, and I just want to commend you for giving me the opportunity and the platform to reach the thousands of people that you have, watching. It's so humbling, and I'm so grateful. And this time I wrote down 3 questions that people have asked me based on watching me on your show, and they've written and said, hey, Brother Rich, this, that, and the third. So the first one is, where do I start? What face wash can I use? Is everything and I use it for my children. And sometimes it's so overwhelming, your website. What are the products that I can use to tighten my neck, the back, the puffiness under my eyes, a face routine, and can I use this in the daytime or this at night? Number one, everything is unisex. I started the company for that purpose. I wanted to make stuff for the men in my life and for men in general. Everything is unisex. Everything is pH balanced to like 9, 8 or higher. All of the body washes, whether you see an astrological one or one that's not, Zodiac body butter and body wash, they're all interchangeable. So you can't go wrong using the coffee bomb at night or using the Scorpio butter if you're a Leo. You can't go wrong. I basically just wanted to honor the herbs that are associated with each month's period. So, for example, if you look at the Zodiac line, there's specific herbs that are in each product, kind of for that sign, but it doesn't mean that you or me as a Virgo doesn't use the Libra or the Leo body butter or the Scorpio body butter. Some are a little bit more stimulating based on the essential oils and based on the herbs, but they all have herbs in them. Every product on the website is infused with over 6 to 8 different herbs. And I don't use shea butter because I found that shea butter is sometimes too heavy. Plus it's mass marketed now. And I really don't like how many options you can get. There's a lot of different shea butters being sold. But when you are actually making products the way I do by hand, they don't emulsify, meaning that they don't blend, where you can just rub them into your hair and you won't see a white residue. I'm not into white cakey residue on my arms because like a chalkboard, I'm darker and you'll see that. So that's one thing. If you're looking for a face wash, you can use the Rose Clay Alchemy, you can use the Banana Face Alchemy, you can use the Kelp Help, or you can use the Lazuli Face Wash, which is really good for people with pox and like raised pimples. My son uses this, he's been going through it, so it's actually calmed his skin down a lot. This has lapis lazuli in it. It's a great essential oil for people with inflamed skin and for people that break out. The Banana Face Alchemy has infused banana as well as the Banana Face Serum. Extremely good for evening hyperpigmentation, skin tone issues, all things like that. So you don't always have to use a niacinamide or an alpha hydroxy. Sometimes chemicals of that nature can strip the skin and dry your skin out, which is what causes a barrier breakdown where you actually break out more unless, like, it gets you addicted to it. But it's not something that's great, which is why after 6 months of use, they stop working. Herbs don't ever stop working. So banana is slept on a lot. It's excellent for hydrating the skin, but also for healing pimples, scars, pox, all of that. So you could start off with the Rose Clay Alchemy, the Kelp Help, the Banana Face Wash, the Lazuli Face Wash, or the fine wine face wash, or the Beets and Roses. All of these are different options that will work for calming the skin, for not allowing breakouts, for hydrating, for collagen production. They all somewhat have similar properties and will work for various different types of skin, but I can tell you that if you can't go wrong in choosing the Kelp Help, the Banana Face Wash. It basically is what you kind of are attracted to. And again, there's a different essential oil. Lang Lane is great for calming the skin and for collagen production. The Banana Face Wash. So you see where I'm going with it. Okay, boom. Now for a serum or for a moisturizer, I'd recommend the Fine Wine Face Serum. It's got a lot of hibiscus in it. Hibiscus is like vitamin C without stripping the melanin. So it's really, really good. It's high in vitamin C. Hibiscus powder, anything with hibiscus in it is excellent for your skin. That's basically the Aries body butter, the Beets and Roses. There's a little bit of hibiscus in the rose clay, but the rose clay is a lot calmer for people with sensitive skin. The Fountain of Youth is excellent. It's got a lot of calendula in it, a lot of rose in it, a lot of chamomile, which is also very calming for the skin. So if I go into body washes, all of the body washes are interchangeable and you can use them downstairs. They're great. Sometimes I spoil myself and I'm like, why aren't I using the body? Because I sell this stuff, so I sometimes feel like I'm not good enough to use it. I started using my body washes like a year ago, and I don't have the same type of dry skin as when I use a Castile soap or something a little cheaper that'll last longer in my home. So no, I don't use anything but the products that I sell on my website. Also, the marmalade. People sleep on cinnamon, wild yam. Instead of using peppermint all the time downstairs, this is a great moisturizer for downstairs, for your inner thighs, for dry skin, for people that have discoloration in their thighs. I would really recommend the marmalade as well as the face, which is an excellent face moisturizer. Sometimes the morning needs something a little thicker at night. I recommend the face. Again, the banana face serum, as well as the cherry serum. The cherry serum is here. It's excellent for puffiness under your eyes, as well as the coffee butter. But don't sleep on the marigold mushroom. If you're looking, people sleep on shana mushroom, cordyceps for your face. It's excellent. Lion's mane, excellent for your skin. Reiki, reishi, which is really another mushroom, really good for your skin, as well as the lazuli blue serum, really good for people with broken out skin, pimples at night, inflamed skin, really wonderful. Also, get rid of those gels that are causing cancer. They're made with formaldehyde, all of like the eco stuff and the stuff that people slick their hair down with. It's so bad for you. There's been so many cases of women having such broken out skin. Formaldehyde is the #1 ingredient that is kind of hidden by the chemicals that are used to preserve it. If you're looking for something to slick down your edges, to cool, to curl your hair, to basically maintain form, I'd recommend the red poppy, the blue sea poppy, again, made with spirulina, coriander. The red poppy is so good. It's made with a lot of hibiscus, but also castor oil, which is kind of brought into a pomace. I use olive oil as well. But anyway, it's literally like Vaseline. I don't even want to open it because it has a sealant on top, but I would show it to you guys. That along with the blue poppy and the Vaselina, it literally is like Vaseline, but it's not as sticky. So there's no petroleum, no mineral oil. You know, people swear using Vaseline on their face, and it's horrible based on the mineral oil in them. So you also have the blue rice hairspray as well as the cherry curl juice. I laugh at how many people have blue bottles and rice infused. Rice is great for hydrating your scalp, for keeping your scalp from getting dry. It also really promotes hair growth, as well as the cherry curl juice. It's got like 3 different herbs in it. Infused cherry seed oil, really hydrating. It will detangle your hair. These are all leave-in hairsprays. I'm grateful for the inspiration to see so many people start to use stuff of that nature. As again, everything is 16 ounces all the way down to 2 ounces. Lemonade is really great for people with eczema, as well as the Victory Rose, the strawberry and the blueberry. Really, really good for people that want something that smells really fragrant but is made with essential oils only. The Goji Guru and the Magnus, excellent. Magnesium infused, really great for helping grow your own nails. My nails are kind of crazy right now. These are all my own nails. I cannot tell you that the magnesium just in my cuticles have promoted strong nail growth. This hand I keep a lot shorter just because I need it to open stuff and to work. But my left hand, I'm still waiting for them to break. They kind of look, this one grows a little crooked, but everything else, sometimes I go into the salon and the lady's like, these are your nails? And I'm like, all I want is clear, and I don't need you to file or to cuticle anything. And sometimes I get a clear nail polish because it won't chip as quickly as my own. The royal goat's really great for babies, especially people with eczema, with broken out skin, as well as the Tepes cocuite, an excellent slept-on herb that's really, really great for people, again, with pimples, discoloration from pimples, wanting to smooth out your skin tone, wanting to keep pimples from coming back. Really, really dope. The Aqua shampoo, as well as the Rosemary's Baby. This is a larger bottle of the Rosemary's Baby. It's got infused actual rosemary in it. I keep certain herbs inside of it, which gives me so much more work. But I like people to get stuff and to actually see anise in their anise oil. So really great for hair growth and promotion of hair that won't attract like lint in it. Ever since I started using just the anise hair serum, as well as the Rosemary's Baby every day and every night. Excellent for keeping just lint out of my hair and allowing my hair to grow really healthy and strong. The same thing with the OG, the onion and garlic, really great for root follicle stimulation, for just promoting hair growth, as well as the Aqua. This is a lot more moisturizing. It's got a little conditioner in it, as well as the bilberry conditioner and the J Jam. Those are two conditioners that have a lot of avocado butter, jojoba butter, and calendula butter. Just it's easy to detangle and comb through, but they're thicker hair conditioners, I would say. Not thick where it gets cakey, but not as thin as like a conditioner that you would purchase in the store with a whole lot of hormone blockers. My main thing is trying to not ever get the fibroid that I had 25 years ago. So in using all of my body butters on my stomach, I don't have any discomfort anymore. There isn't any, I've never, thank God, I still get my period every month, even though I'm 49. I'm praying for my goddamn menopause, but it hasn't come yet. And I say that to say I still have a regular period, but I'm not getting cramps. It's not over, my 3-day threshold, thank God. And that's something that I want to encourage women. If you're using anything, a castor oil prep, anything with castor oil on your stomach is, if you're not pregnant, of course, is really great for people with fibroids, with any type of endocrine issues, with inflamed, anything downstairs inflamed or uterus issues, peacocks. All of these things are coming from putting perfume on your neck, from putting Vaseline on your face, from using all makeups which have dyes in them that are horrible for your skin and are also endocrine blockers. So it's not to say I'm like, don't wear makeup. I just don't, because I see the benefit in getting older. And a lot of people are like, where are your, it's just beets juice, celery juice, chlorophyll water, just using it, drinking it for over 25 years. I'm very grateful that my skin hasn't started to age in certain ways, or my hair hasn't started to get gray. Also, the pit stops. This is excellent. It's got a lot of arrowroot, a lot of baking soda. I'm naming off ingredients because I wanted to put real coffee oil in the coffee butter, not something that just has a little in it, plus 10 other, chemicals. Anything in stores have fragrance in them and perfume in them. So the things that you love to smell, really be aware, because those are all endocrine blockers. Those will all not be good for stimulating the prostate, keeping the prostate at bay as you get older. The Hair Magic, the musical hairs, the Vaselina, the red poppy, the all the hair products that I make are really like so easy to rub into thicker hair. They're all made for straight hair, curly hair, hair that's missing alopecia, itchy scalp, dandruff. It will alleviate everything. And it's not to say, oh, how it's the herbs in everything. Mm-hmm. Herbs are very much slept on, and because it takes longer for people, especially major companies, to actually infuse them well, I stand out. The company stands out because I actually hand make everything, and because I'm putting fresh herbs in everything, and I figured out how to make my own hydrosols, how to infuse everything correctly. It really is just a testament of time. So I've been doing it for almost 18 years now, and I'm just thankful for these platforms because I'm gonna start doing more YouTube videos. it's just, I'm starting to enjoy my life and not having to always be on a camera. It takes a lot of time away from my routine, which is really just waking up, doing yoga, working out, lifting weights, then coming and having to work till about 1, 2 in the morning. So I'm just grateful for this opportunity to share with you guys. The Leo is excellent. Also, don't forget there's zinc pink. It's infused zinc. Zinc has been great. The magnesium is great. I use it on my neck and my body right before bedtime. I'm sleeping 8 hours straight now. I'm having no interrupted sleep. The Goji Guru as well as the Blue Rice hair pudding. Those are the other 2 hair products that if you don't necessarily want that rosemary peppermint smell, the musical hairs is infused with mandarin and orange, which is vitamin C stimulus. Also, the Goji Guru is made with it's incredible. So I don't want to get any further. I just wanted to take 10 minutes to tell you guys the face serums that you could use, the fine wine, the foy, the banana oil, the cherry seed oil for puffiness, the coffee butter for any type of stomach aches. Use the anise. There we go. Any questions? Feel free to ask. But this month and this month only for the next 30 days, give myself more work because I ordered a lot of bottles and I'm ready. So if a flood comes through, I'll be grateful, but you will receive a free body butter if you make a purchase. And just write Brother Rich, anything Rich affiliated. You don't even have to spend $50 or more. I'm going to send you a free body butter if you mention Rich or Brother. I'm thinking wealth. Your name is going to open a portal for me. I paid off my car lease, so I want to thank the guys. I've had this car for 4 years, and I just paid off the lease in July. And I want to make more money because it was a lot of money to buy out my lease. But anyway, thank you for this platform and for people that have said, I wouldn't have known about you if I didn't see you on Brother Rich's show. Right. So I love you guys. Thank you so much. Cordoba, CORDOBA, organics.com. That's it.
Indeed. And I could tell y'all, absolutely amazing products. If y'all could just, I'm going to just put it on Aseer and Celina. If y'all could just see their hair. Look at their hair. Look at their antennas.
And I just like, because I didn't want it to, it catches in my shoes sometimes when I'm walking on the floor. And you know, people have different types of locks. I salute women with those really groomed. Mine all started from freeform, so it's a little bit different. They're not all the same size. I cut the ones that
But you remember
you already know. When you saw me when they were like, and I had locks that were as big as an inch.
Remember when they were small?
They were like an inch long. So I always laugh because people are like, oh, well, you're lucky because your hair is just long. No, I started with the Caesar. So for people that don't think, I'm going to post a picture or two of when they weren't even an inch long. And literally, it's just, I'm grateful for the hair products that I make because I can't use anything in stores. No, same thing. Sometimes I just, 3 times a week, I'll just wash my scalp and I'll hold up the actual lock just so that I keep my scalp really clean from going in the sauna. Same things. I cut the back ones a little bit because they were just way too long. I hold this up and just go through my scalp and dry that out. And then, once a week I wash everything. But, 3, 4 times a week, sometimes I'm washing my scalp so much because of the sweat. You don't want any smelliness in your hair, especially the longer it gets. So I just want to encourage people to stay away from perfumes and body sprays and from, those products in stores that smell really great but are made with a lot of endocrine blockers and a lot of hormone blockers that are messing our women's, fertility systems up. So that's about it.
Indeed. Yo, was y'all ever able to use the cigars I sent y'all?
We have. Aseer has. I have been herb free for a year now. I'm almost gonna pass a year, but I miss smoking weed. The thing that I don't miss is how much more sleep. I used to have a lot of interrupted sleep. I don't know if it was just from smoking, But this is the first time in my life that I can sleep 9 hours straight. And that's, my dreams are, I could sleep 9 hours straight. When I was smoking weed, I had heavier sleep, but I would wake up every 4 or 5 hours. So this is the first time in my life where I'm able to really sleep 9 hours straight. And it's just for me, you know, in terms of, you know, riding my bike 8 miles, I still work out. I'm using a lot more weights. I work out in the sauna. And I run up and down the stairs. I live on the 17th floor. So I do the stairs 4 times, you know, 3 times a week, but I do four times in one session. Ground floor, basement floor, to the 17th floor, just to stair stepper in the gym, and to just promote my knee strength from knee surgery and from foot to all those types of things. And I don't get winded. I'm not winded at all. I can run like 5 miles. So there's certain things I see the benefit of, but
yeah, I had a good brother come out, and the cigar was really smooth, man.
Oh, great,
really
great.
smooth.
So you enjoyed it. Great. Definitely.
Yeah, but I also want to thank those that, you know, have, you know, talked about herb and weed and stuff. I wouldn't say it's the best thing to let go of because it really did help with certain joint inflammation. I just started taking more ice baths and just have been grateful. I said to myself when I reach a certain age, I just want to stop just for the longevity because I was such an avid, you know, I smoked a lot of weed in my life. So it's nice to not right now. But yeah, I kind of miss it. I just don't indulge because I've done it for so long now. A year to me is like 5. So I'm very grateful.
Indeed. Once again, shout out to King Simon in the chat. He has been sharing Aseer and Celina's links the entire show. So
Thank you.
you got the Cash App, you got the website, you got the PayPal,
Thank
you got everything has been shared in the chat the whole night. Once again, shout out to the brother King Simon. There was something I want to ask from the chat before you get out of here. Aseer. Somebody said this is in the super chat. Shout out to this brother who donated $10. He said, "What's up with the supernatural events surrounding the Appalachian Mountains?" I haven't heard of that, so I don't. Is something going on over there? I see it.
Yeah, a lot of that's happening with the fires in Canada.
Okay, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah, the fires in Canada are them trying to hide a lot of stuff coming out the ground, and a lot of the stuff that's happening in the skies out there. Like the skies has just been lit up.
Yeah.
With lights, UAPs, UFOs, and ever since they turned it off, which is going to be off, by the way, until 2030. So we got between now and 2030 to really put a dent in whatever the nefarious plan got planned going in. So trying to sign the NDAA, which is a forced merger, pseudo merger between the military and intelligence between the United States and Small Hat Land, which to me is a real big sign of desperation, and the fact that 85 to 90% of the country is totally against it. So them striving to do that, trying to merge that, to me is really more of an understanding that they need to try to quell all of the voices that are rising, the world voices, not only just in this country, but all over the world, that's rising against the imperialism that they've been establishing, to the point where they're so anti-imperialist that they're trying to endorse democratic socialists, which is basically communists, which are basically communists, which are basically communists who are striving to act like they're going to be better when there's never been a communist regime on the planet that's actually succeeded without total collapse. So California is a failed state. New York is about to be a failed state. And then in the middle, you have Chicago, which is another pseudo-failed state. So you're going to see a rise of these democratic socialists that are going to try to use this whole act like they're going to be better.
You talking about Mamdani? I say you talking about Mamdani?
Yeah, Kami Mandami.
Oh man, I said, hold up. He looks like, this is how it looks from the outside looking in. That video I seen the other day about Netanyahu, everybody in the comments, including myself, is like, I haven't seen anybody else come out like that against Netanyahu. So it seems like a good thing. Talk to me, my brother.
Type in Mandami meets the Chabad community. Type that in, and then you'll see him around the same people that are supporting Netanyahu. So, like I told you, it don't matter what they telling you, they're all on the same side. If they're running, you have to understand this too. Everybody that is running your government now is not from America. People got
foreigners.
Nobody
foreigners.
Your government is actually from America.
Wow.
From Uganda. He's an Indian from Uganda. Obama was a creation from Africa, Indonesia, Hawaii, and then Chicago. Kamala Harris is an Indian from Jamaica who they put into the AKAs. Like, look at what they're doing. Trump is a German. Nobody that is running the country is actually from the country. That's why nobody is getting charged for treason. You understand that they made a law, they're trying to make it a law so that way all of us that are born here, bred here, for generations here, we are all going to have our laws dictated to somebody that's not even from here. The dude that they just hired in Massachusetts is trying to shut down anybody that want to have guns. The Virginia legislature, most of them are Europeans and Indians. In Somali, Minnesota, it's all Somalians running the country. Like Cortez, she's Argentinian and something else. What's his name? They're all being funded by another country. They're all traitors to America. They don't have any allegiance to this place. They just want to take everything that you have and turn your country into what theirs is, that they ran from. They're passing a law right now in Massachusetts where they're saying that they're going to put Muslims, right, on a fast track to become legislators above every other group. That's against the Constitution. You can't do any of that. And remember, the Constitution is not about your rights. It's about the rights that limit the government in doing all of the treasonous things that they are doing. It is treason to try to merge your military and intelligence with another country. They wouldn't merge with Haiti. They wouldn't merge with Ghana. They wouldn't merge with Russia. They wouldn't merge with China. But you know what's happening while they're doing all of this?
What?
China is in the wings and watching this, and is saying they basically put them into something called a Thucydides trap. Again, back to the Greeks, back to the Peloponnesians. Thucydides was a ruler who got put into a position in which he was trapped by his own admission. So the other day, Donnie met with Xi Jinping, and Xi Jinping said, yo, well, you know, you can say what you want, but your country is in decline. When Donnie said, well, yeah, it is, but that was the end of the rulership of what we understand the United States to be at that point. Why? Because he fell into one of the oldest political science traps ever, which again is called the Thucydides trap. On my YouTube right now, I got a video on it. And what that means is whenever you have a rising power, and that rising power is about to eclipse the standing status quo power, it always does something to test the resolve of the ruling elite. If the ruling elite agrees with the assumption of the rising power, then politically and socioeconomically, the trade-off now begins. And that's what we're seeing. We're seeing the fire sale of the United States broke down into different regions based on the Sisyphus trap, and another Greek event or Greek analogy called a Pyrrhic victory or Pyrrhic victory. A Pyrrhic victory comes from the king, an old Peloponnesian so-called Greek or Creek king called Pyrrhic. And Pyrrhic fought a battle against, I want to say, the Athenists, but I'm not sure. You can check me on that. But anyway, he fought the war. But a Pyrrhic victory was basically when you fight a war and you win, but the fact that you had to expend so much energy and so much life that it's basically like you lost. So that is what we can sum up this whole Iran situation to be. Because if and when they do sign up these militaries, Small Hats is going to withdraw and they're going to try to send ground people from here over there. That is going to set off a chain reaction over here because nobody is going to want to send their children over there to die for somebody else that they know have a religion that believes that we are supposed to die for them. That the blood that is sacrificed for us is to their God, so their God could elevate them above everybody else. Like I told you, this is their God-given belief. So they believe that we're supposed to die for them. So that means everybody in Congress that signs up for this, that means you need to go on if you go to my Facebook, I got a thing up there where there's a number you can call. You can actually call and put in your discontent that you do not want this to pass the House. Because regardless to what they're going to tell you, they're going to try to set it all off on the American people that don't want this thing to happen. Because they believe that they have the right to send everybody to die on their behalf. And everybody in Congress is a part of the Epstein pedophile class. And they all believe that this is what they need to do in order for them to stay in power. Because they're all blackmailed. They're all a part of MK Ultra programs. They've all been compromised. And what they're doing is actually treason. Under the laws of treason, this is treason. So if you let them get away with this, like you let them get away with the Epstein files, you let them get away with 9/11, you let them get away with Oklahoma, you let them get away with crack, you let them get away with rap, let them get away with all of this shit. This is really the last straw. So y'all got to not only put in your spiritual work against this happening, you need to put in the physical work and let your discontent be known. So that way, once it goes down, it is no situation where they're going to be able to enforce anything. Because if they try to merge their military with yours, this is a last act of desperation. They've lost the court of public opinion. So all they can do now is try to use your military against you, which they've been doing all of these years, to force you into a position to do that. But like I said, it ain't gonna go how they want because I told you they've already gone into the glass and seen that it's all fake.
That was dope. I like how you dropped that. That was dope. That was dope about CERN and the parallel realities. That was super dope.
Absolutely.
Indeed. So they already lost. So all we got to do is catch up to the time in the future where we win, and we win by not participating.
Aseer, my brother, I want to thank you, Celina. I want to thank you for coming on the show. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Drop bombs today.
Thank you so much.
Honest, bro. I really appreciate you, man, for having us on again.
Before we leave that website one more time before we get out of here. The websites.
www.aseerthedukeoftears.com and www.cordobaorganics.com.
And ds418.com.
Yeah, but when you go to aseerthedukeoftears.com, all of my links is already there. So you have the links to where you get my book, and you can join the app.
So it's aseerthedukeoftears.com. ASEER, not ASS.
Yes.
ASEER. And there's no secret to how I do my hair. It's just patience, and a lot of people don't like washing their hair a lot. I think the exact opposite. Almost like wash your scalp as much as it needs to be washed. Right. I wash mine at least 3-4 times a week, and I wash my hair once a week. And don't be afraid to wash it. But when you're using herbs, it stimulates follicle growth. I cannot tell you how much my hair grew after I started using only my own products.
Word.
And that's not to just, it's just to say I wanted stuff that had calendula and real hibiscus and real anise oil in it. So in just researching and taking the time, it really is just time, patience, and allowing my new growth to grow. A lot of people with longer hair sometimes have thinning roots, and I didn't want that to happen. So I just stopped pulling on my new growth. And I only kind of twist the backs of it, but all the front of my hair is basically, like if I were to pull it down, it's basically all my curls. And I just basically use Vaselina, Hair Magic, Musical Hairs, and switch it up just because I like switching up the herbs that are in each one. So the more you use herbs that stimulate your follicles and don't have dry, itchy scalp, the more you moisturize and just give yourself a scalp rub, the more your follicles and hair and roots will grow. So my hair grows from the top, and then that's basically, every time I wash it, I feel it grows like a quarter inch, like it just grows. So I'm just grateful for the growth and for it not growing, weak.
Word.
That's basically it. But there's no secret. It's just patience.
Word.
Indeed. Well, amazing products. I see amazing talk tonight, my brother. I appreciate you as always, and I will talk to the both of you soon. Thank you so much.
Later, man.
Thank you for having me on.
Yes.
Thank you for the love. Remember, Rich, and I'll send you a free something, a free body butter, and every order comes with the free lip chap. So thank you guys.
Brothers,
Thanks.
Thank you, Brother Rich. Love you guys.
As always. Peace.
Let's
Peace.
do it, man. Be free.
All right.
Peace.
Peace, guys.
Shout out to the brother Aseer and Celina. Oh man, amazing show, y'all. 2 hours, a full 2 hours. Oh man, a full 2 hours. Aseer dropped it tonight. He did his thing. Oh man, he dropped it on that history of Argentina. He was going in with that. Yeah, he was going in, and a lot of us, when we see these things, we don't understand the history behind the behavior. But when you understand the history behind the behavior, you won't be surprised. As a matter of fact, you could predict the behavior from a lot of groups around the world and a lot of happenings around the world. So it's dope when you have somebody like that in the community to explain things, so you could be prepared. You won't be surprised. So yeah, once again, shout out to that brother right there. I said the Duke of Tears. Also, before I get out here, once again, family, Rod Hayes did his thing on Patreon last night. We're starting this thing off the Carbon Code Collective. Also, I seen somebody in the chat asking for the link for the cigars. So I gotta share that. I'm glad I seen his peoples enjoyed it. I meant to ask him that before, but I didn't. Where's this? Hold up. Let me find this. I keep telling y'all I gotta put the link at the top. I don't know why I didn't put it at the top yet. But I'm always happy when somebody enjoys it. I mean, this was such a huge part of our culture in antiquity. Tobacco and nicotine. And yeah, I just what's the name? Beard Gang? Yeah, I just shared the link in the chat. I just shared the link in the chat, my brother, for the cigars. So I didn't see you. I see Kick Simon sharing other links. I didn't know you was looking for the link. And then I just seen it. So yeah, but I was talking, so I wasn't paying attention. I gotta figure out a way to get it. But yeah, yeah, that Patreon. Rod Hayes did his thing last night. We're gonna be pretty busy over there real soon. So y'all gonna want to go over to the Patreon and sign up. We're gonna be real busy over there. But Rod Hayes did his thing. This lady, you keep. I think this is the third time you in the chat talking about the cigars. I put my email every time, and I never get an email from you. This might be the second or third time you wrote that. I'm beginning to think you're not a real person. I'm gonna put my email again. You keep putting this in the chat. And I be looking for your email after the show, and I don't see it. Email me. Email me. Are you just, in the chat putting like, I be looking for your email. You never email me. Email me. Let me know what's going on. I don't even know if you're real or not. You could just be putting that on, on some bullshit. So but that's like the third or fourth time. So this is the last time I'm gonna leave my email for you. And after that, you got to say goodbye. No, you did. Okay. You said you emailed me. I did not get it. And I check daily. And I was looking for yours, particularly after the show. So, King Simon said I may have to check spam. I'm going to check the spam. But, oh, man, it's Friday. Yo, let me tell y'all, in Atlanta, in Georgia, well, I don't live in Atlanta, in Georgia, it just rained all day, y'all. It just rained all day. Yes, I'm real. Yeah, well, yeah. Email me. I literally email me tonight, and I'll look into that. Email me tonight, literally tonight, right now if you can, and I'll take a look at it. All right. But yeah, it's just raining, y'all. Like I would say, from May to today, it basically rained every day in Atlanta. Almost it rained 92% of the time in Atlanta of every day. 92%. I mean, like, it just rains in Georgia. Like, it be hot, then there's always like an hour or 2 or 3 hours where it just start raining. I've been coming to Georgia for a long time and it's never been like that. Yeah, I'm beginning to think you a troll. You wrote post the email again. Yeah. You see, y'all, family, I want y'all to know I'm not bugging out. I literally just posted it. All she got to do is scroll up. Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm going to leave that alone. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Well, let's keep it going. Yeah, that's the waters returning. I don't know what it is with the rain, but it's like I'll be trying to enjoy the sun and then the rain just come out of nowhere, and it's just so consistent in Georgia. So yeah. But it was a great show. I'm trying to think. I might go live tomorrow outside real quick. I'm not even gonna say where, but I might. But we closed it out this week great with Dr. Valentine, and then we had our Aseer today. Yesterday, Rod Hayes was on Patreon, so it was a good end of the week. Real good end of the week. Yeah. You know what? I got a hack for y'all. I was thinking about the other day, and I was like, it really helped me tap in, and I was like, I'm gonna tell the family. You know how like Instagram, the reels is like messing up our concentration and like our minds is just so scattered because we're watching videos that's 30 seconds. So it's not like in the past we would watch a program that's 30 minutes. Now we're watching shit that's 30 seconds and we're scrolling so fast. It's like a dopamine culture. One thing that could counter that, if you want to use social media, and this is like advice and tips and tricks I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna leave specifically for Carbon Code Collective on Patreon. But I said, look, let me mention this tonight. If you have an Instagram reel or whatever that's, let's say it's 20 seconds long and has a pertinent message in it, and you just keep going and going and going and going, it's not going to stick like that. You'll learn it, but you won't embody it. And that's something we stress in the Carbon Code Collective about learning versus embodying. Loop that Instagram video. Let it loop for 20 minutes, 22 minutes. Let it loop for 22 minutes. That shit will stick with you. And while it's looping, you come up with a whole narrative. You come up with a mini movie about that loop that you're listening to. Your imagination will come up with a whole movie based on this loop. So you could use that. That's like a tip. Like loop it for 22 minutes instead of listening for 30. You could be on Instagram for 22 minutes, right? And look at 100 different things. And by the time you leave, you're just exhausted and don't gain anything. Or you could be on Instagram for 22 minutes, watch one thing and let that one thing loop for the 22 minutes. And within that 22 minutes, you provide a storyline about that loop that you're listening to. Telling you, man, y'all don't know what I just told y'all. I'm telling y'all, some powerful shit. Some powerful shit. That's a level of the imagination that a workaround. That's a workaround for the gods to counter the technology that we're faced today with today. See, when you're on that God body shit, you know you find ways to counter it. Or you found ways, alchemy, the things that they give you that's supposed to harm you, you find ways to benefit from it. So they want to create a dopamine culture. All right. Well, you take a short reel and you loop it. Now, it's not a dopamine culture. It's something that's giving you laser sharp focus and allowing you to embody that message. So, yeah, just wanted to say that to y'all, man. Just want to share that with y'all real quick. I was like, I'm gonna talk to the family because I was doing it recently, and I'm like, and it's really sticking with me. Like, and I'm like, this shit is effective. I gotta tell, CC, my brother Dave, feel me. It takes a certain God to understand what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, loop that shit. Loop it. And but for like, 20 minutes, and I'm telling you, that shit, it's definitely powerful. Yeah, shout out. Mystical said I do it all the time. Yeah, shout out. Yeah, shout out to you. Shout out to you. Shout out to everybody in the chat. What keeps Samson? Lupin has master number frequencies in it. Okay, all right. All right. All right. This is hilariously accurate. Yep. Was the Rod Hayes live record? Yeah, it's on my Patreon. It's not on YouTube. It's on my Patreon page. The Rod Hayes is on Patreon. Yep, it's on Patreon. One thing I want to tell y'all before I get out of here is hold up. Give me a second. Oh, I don't see it now. I don't see it now. Do that now. I'm just looking at some of your comments. Oh, Dave said, when are you gonna release that track from the other day? When the app comes out, it'll be released on the app. Yeah, it'll be released. Yeah, that track is very godly. It's very, very, very godly, and you don't hear stuff like that anymore. That's like it got a God sound to it with the opera and the cinematicness of the production. It's definitely got that God vibe to it. So yeah, when the app come out, yeah, I appreciate it. Barry Tone Jones, I appreciate it. Rich don't even stress. Said brother be on the right. Yeah, definitely. Yep. The Patreon, let me see. Patreon is I'm gonna give you the link directly on Patreon. It's gonna lead you directly to the Rod Hayes video. That'll leave you directly. Yeah, that'll leave you directly to Patreon to the Rod Hayes video. All right. So yeah, that you can watch it right from there. No, I'm not rapping. I'm a music producer. I am Yeah, I'm the music producer. I don't rap, but America's Son is singing on it, and she's an amazing talent, and she's doing her opera thing on that. When the show ends, the song will play, the track will play that Dave was talking about when the show ends. But America's Son is doing the opera on that. I got a rap version also, but that won't get released. I won't even play that till later. Well, good question. Are you working on a movie score for anyone? Not yet. Soon. I will be soon. That's a goal of mine. That's a goal of mine to work on a movie score. Yeah, that's definitely a goal of mine. So I will just say it's part of my destiny chart. I'll say it like that. It's part of my destiny chart. Things you desire, you already possess in another dimension. So I don't look at things I desire as being separate from me. I just know I can't visually see it in this realm. Now, you can have things that you can't see, but you have them. It could be in another room. Your wallet could be in another room. You may not see the wallet, but if somebody asks you if you have a wallet, you say, yes, I have a wallet, because you know it's in another room and you have access to it at any time. Well, I know things I desire is in another room called the dimension, and I have access to it anytime I want. But the game we play here on Earth is the belief is you collapse the dimensions with belief. So then I got the key to open up that door to that room. The belief, but how much you believe something is your key with it in that door to that dimension. So yes, I have worked on a movie score, and I am working on a movie score for someone. So it's like a contradiction in a sense, the way we live in this realm. What our desires exist, but in one sense we could say they don't exist. It just depends on your perspective. I happen to have a multi-dimensional perspective, which allows me to know who I am on a grander, greater scale. So I think that once we develop, and this is like carbon code collective shit here. We got to develop that carbon code. We got to develop that multi-dimensional perspective where you're not separate from the outcome. Neville Goddard said, live from the end as if it already happened. And I got to get a Jew back on here. Y'all might have forgot. I might have to get Jew back on, the Minister Jew, to talk that Neville Goddard talk, But I had a little cold earlier too. I felt it yesterday when I was talking to Ron. I felt it when I was talking to Phil 2 days ago, and my nose was getting stuffy and felt a little out of it earlier. I feel better now, though. Yeah, I feel better now. Oh man, somebody said, wait, experiencing awful eczema on my hands. I've tried. Yeah, I've dealt with eczema for a while. There could be a couple of factors. Before I got my water filter, my water changed, the water filter, the hard water in your coming from your shower can be, you bathing once a day, twice a day, or whatever, and that could be a factor in the eczema, as well as some of the foods we eat. I talked about me having to cut down from bread. I'm not big on meat, but I do eat meat once in a while. But I've had issues with bread, eating too much bread, and that contributes to it as well. But I would say immediately get a filter. I got a real good filter, but you could get a filter, or you could get a good one for $60 from Amazon and put it on your shower wherever you're bathing the most at. And at least that will eliminate a lot of the toxins from entering your body. Our showers is filled. We're taking a fluoride shower. We're taking a chlorine shower and all the other shit that's in there. So Yeah, if we could work on that, that would be a big help. So I would just, I would definitely say take care. Invest $50, $60 in a shower filter. Yeah, the shower filter, Oh, that's beautiful. I make my own bread. That's another goal of mine. Y'all hitting on a lot of. I would love one day, and I guess this is something else that exists in another dimension. But to make your own bread, you know how much they talked about bread in antiquity. You know how important bread is. You know how much they mentioned bread. Bread was like goddamn having $100. Bread was like the equivalent to money. You got bread, you got it all. What the fuck happened to bread? Like bread was everything back then. Could you imagine how the bread tastes 3,000 years ago? Could y'all imagine? Oh, that shit must have been so good 3,000 years ago. Man, our shit got so many preservatives in it now. Shit. It's straight chemicals now. Could you imagine how bread tasted 3,000 years ago, family? Wow. Man. I would love to do remote viewing just to see how some bread tasted 3,000 years ago. I'm gonna learn remote viewing for shit like that, entertaining shit. See how bread tasted. You know what I'm saying? See what kind of hairstyles. Did brothers have shape ups 3,000 years ago? Just all types of simple shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh man. Yeah, but let me see what y'all talking about in the chat. Yeah, about to get out of here. Somebody say orange. Yeah, oranges ain't the same. Yeah, I mean, yeah, none of it's the same. Oranges, apples, shit. None of it is the same. Yeah, soy's in most of the bread. Yep. Definitely. Definitely. All right, family. Let me get out of here once again. Let me share the link. Let me share the link to the cigars one more time for the family. Anybody inquiring about them? Shit right now. I'm gonna go and enjoy me one tonight. I'm gonna go and enjoy me one tonight. That's what I'm gonna do. What time is it? 10:30. Yeah, I'm gonna go enjoy me one tonight. That's what I'm gonna do. Enjoy me a cigar tonight. I'm gonna do a little reading. Enjoy me a cigar and do a little reading. Let me just put this in the so I shared the link. All right, I shared the link. But I'm getting out of here. Family, listen, I appreciate y'all. I might be on tomorrow. Real quick, if I don't, I will see y'all Monday. All right, family. But everybody enjoy your weekend, all right? It's been a great week here on the 363 Empire. Thanks for tuning in throughout the whole week. And I will see y'all soon, all right, family? Enjoy this video. This is like some God music, the outro video and the intro. It's some real godly shit. The vocals, America's Son, is very godly. Like I said, this beat was a collaboration. I did the beat. There's a brother named E-Bass on the guitar, and Nick Price helped with the drums. I had a simple drum pattern, and Nick came, and that's our engineer. And he threw some powerful drums on there. And it was dope. The process was dope. It was when Cam and them came to my house like a month ago. And I had started the beat. We was talking about Scarface and cinematic movies. And I went upstairs and I went to sleep. After I create, if I do like some deep creation, I gotta take a nap. So they downstairs. I go upstairs to take a nap, go to sleep. All I know is I come back downstairs. I hear these drums Nick got to the beat I did. I'm like, Nick. Nick was like, yeah, this is the outro. I'm like, Nick, you gotta let that ride out the whole beat. I say you gotta let that ride out the whole beat. So he had it for the outro. I was like, nah, Nick, we need to hear them shits. Them shits is banging. So it's a collaboration beat with me and Nick. E-Bass on the guitar. It was dope. So I just no, not Scarface, King of the South. The movie Scarface. The soundtrack to the movie Scarface is real cinematic, and they use all of these synths, these big synths on it. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's not the rapper Scarface, but like the movie Scarface with the soundtrack. The movie soundtrack is real big, real big. But in this track, just that was the inspiration when I started the track and the melody. So saying that to say enjoy the track, family. But I will see y'all soon, all right? Appreciate y'all. For real, for real. Peace and blessings.